What's up guys, it's Wilson, also known as Design by Will, and in today's video we're going to be designing some trucker hats for my personal brand Revision. Now as I'm designing this collection for Revision, I'm contemplating what I really want in this collection. Like, do I want a tracksuit? Do I want t-shirts? Do I want trucker hats? Like, I have the ability to do all those things, but I don't know what to do. And I have a personal audience like you guys who follow me, but I don't know if that would translate towards Revision. Like, the one thing that I always tell people when they're starting a clothing brand is who's your target audience. Don't market towards your friends. And because friends don't really buy anything, you want to market to somebody who's actually going to purchase something from you. So that's when it goes into business rather than relationships, which is where you want to stand, especially when you're designing clothing brand. Now, in terms of projects, this one might be sped up a little bit, mainly because I was working in between like 4 different files, and I wasn't really planning on recording this process. But I thought to myself, if I'm creating a brand, I want this to be a full content experience for you guys. I want you guys to come along the journey of starting your own brand. So this is going to be series 1, and it's going to be on the trucker hat. Even though I've already made hoodies and I've already ordered samples, those should be coming in next week, and we'll be making a video on those next week. So make sure you subscribed and you like the video so the algorithm can bring you back for when we got those samples in. Now for this first, I'm working on my typography. I spent around 40 minutes or so on it, and I didn't end up using it. And it was really disheartening because I thought it looked cool at the start, but then I kept playing with it, especially on the mockup, and it just wasn't working. Now the mockups I'm using for this project are available on Adobe stock, and you guys can get them. And I might put them in my Patreon, if you get what I mean. But yeah, then I didn't make these mockups, and I'm so glad that I didn't make them, because it would have took me around like 2-3 hours to make these mockups, to get them right and then get them ready for people to use and get the layers cleaned up. Because that's one thing people don't know. Designers make stuff for themselves, and before they send it up for a client, you have to clean up the files. And I feel like cleaning up the files is probably the worst part of any project, because you spent 2 hours getting the file ready, and that's usually why people charge a revision fee, because that time wasted on cleaning up a file is so long. Now you can see me here putting it on the mockup and going back and forth, playing with it, seeing which one I like, which one I don't like, playing with the sizing a little bit. And already I can tell I don't like it, because I'm already trying to do more with it. If you're trying to do more with the design and you're not already happy with it in its most simplest form, then I feel like you should go back to the drawing board and start again, because adding isn't always best. You see me here playing with colors, and these colors are actually just from a manufacturer I found on Alibaba. I just popped them up right here. I haven't ordered anything from them, but they had the colors that I want sort of for the hat. But then I thought to myself that I want a custom brim towards the back. I don't want them all just one panel color, which might be cheaper for printing, but I guess if you're making a brand, you want to be unique, and I feel like colors and little things like that are the way of making yourself stand out. So I decided to completely just scratch the first design I'm working on myself and just use it as a digital sketch to towards the final product. Like, I like the typeface. I don't like the typeface. I like what it says and I like the feel of it, but the typeface isn't working for me. So I'm gonna choose this typeface and work around it, because I feel like this one matches a little bit more and it works a little bit more towards the overall aesthetic that I'm going for. At first I was trying to find another typeface that would match it, but then I just thought to myself, let me just sketch this out. Like, the reference from St. Woods I was using, they have hand lettered type on there, so I'm like, I like that aesthetic, and I think I could just replicate it with this one and it would work a little bit more. Plus it plays on the aspect of revision. So the whole premise around revision is basically just like the off drafts. Like, nothing's ever perfect and you can always improve. That's the whole idea of revision, self-improvement, and just keep going, because perfect is never going to be there. So until you're content or you'll find fulfillment or happiness within yourself, just keep going, just keep grinding. So yeah, after we've got our hand lettered in, custom hand lettering. No one else will have this. But yeah, once we got our hand lettering in, we're gonna want to expand it. But first, we just want to build up the width of it because it's kind of skinny at the moment, and we want it to match the same thickness or weight as the other typography. So we're just gonna bring it up to 6 in terms of the point, or however, whatever thickness you want. So 6 would be perfect for me. And then we're just going to expand it by going to object, expand, and now we can move it around. And we're just going to do the same exact thing for still, object, expand appearance. And yeah, there you can go in and then expand the individual letters themselves, but to stop yourself from having any accidents down the line, I would recommend just going individually and just scaling it down to that, because now the appearance won't change in itself. It's staying the same thickness, and you can play around with it and work around with it. And you can also edit the type like I did there with the little whatever it's called. But yeah, so this is going to be the premise for the design, and it works really well. And at first I thought maybe I could incorporate the peace sign again in the design and make it work that way. And it kind of works. Like, I like it. I think I might actually keep it. And then I also thought of how can I incorporate the actual revision logo. And I know some people like minimal branding, but when it comes to a trucker hat and all the trucker hats that I've seen, they all have really intense graphics or like a phrase that the brand embraces. And that's kind of sort of still branding, or on the lines of branding. So yeah, I still wanted to incorporate some sort of like peace sign and stuff like that. I feel like the peace sign has no resignation towards my brand. It's just cool. I guess you can never find peace within yourself by understanding that there's never going to be perfection. So yeah. So now we got the design where we want it. You can see kind of my idea or thinking process of where I want to have embroidery and where I want to have screen print. So the actual revision logo is going to be screen print, and the writing that's going to be in black later on is going to be all embroidery. And now we're going to do that with once we do our tech pack, but for now we're just going to be placing it on this mock-up and playing with colors to see where we want to take the brand. But the actual hoodies that I did before, this bluish color is the actual hoodie of a mock-up. So I just wanted to recreate those colors from the hoodies and put it onto the hat just for cohesion, but that might be too much cohesion. So we might be using a little bit more black in the design just to balance everything out and make sure everything works. I've also just added the Photoshop patch and also the Revision Studio logo on the sides of the hat, just to keep that revision branding going on. And with a brand, once you get like a certain amount of identity graphics, you can kind of recycle that throughout different designs, unless you have a collection where you're designing towards something or a certain mood. Then you can switch it up and then have brand new designs. But if you have like a brand identity or identity graphics, as you would say, you can reuse them throughout a plethora of different mockups and garments, because people still like the brand for that actual identity. You're wearing it because it has a logo and something on it, and people resonate with those logos. So keeping that is very important, especially when you're building up your brand in itself. So for the next few designs, I'm just going to be fast forwarding through those ones because we don't actually use them. But if you guys want to check out those designs, make sure to check out my Instagram at Design by Will, and also check out the Revision Instagram, because I'm also going to be tagging that in that video. All the links are in the description. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now I just want to pop in real quick and talk to you through the second design. We can see here the revision typeface and me playing with it. The stars idea is actually a really cool idea. Like, imagine those stars throughout the whole panel. I think that would make a really sick look. I wish I thought of that when I was designing it, because I think I would have went for that one as the final. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Get straight back into it. And that is a wrap for all three designs that we have sort of based around. Now, before we start making a tech bag, let me know down in the comments which one of these three would you pick personally for your brand, for instance. Now, the third one with the flames going upon the side embroidered, that would make a really cool sick unique look. I don't know, I'm not speaking English anymore. But yeah, let's get straight into making the tech pack for the final design. Now, obviously I can make a tech pack for all of them, but I just want to focus on this primary design in itself. So the first thing we're going to want to do for our tech pack is obviously format it. Usually I go A4, not horizontal, what's the word? Landscape, and just title it. And then once I make it, I basically scale it up to fit the actual mock-ups of the hats themselves, because the objects aren't expanded on the hats. So the hats themselves are just literally still vectorized. So if you scale them down, they get distorted, obviously, because 7mm or whatever scaled down is different than when it's scaled up in Illustrator, because it's vector format, which can be annoying in Illustrator, especially when you don't want to scale something. But yeah, so instead of doing all that, like I'll show you guys an example. If I put it here, right, and I want to scale this whole thing down, for instance, you can see that it gets all warped. Like, it just doesn't look good anymore. So instead of doing that, just scale up the piece of paper, so you can have it there for later. And in case you do go to print, even though it's scaled up, it's still within the margins of the frame of A4. So yeah. With the design itself, like I said before, first thing we're going to want to do is pick color. Now, if you guys don't have access to Illustrator, I have this really cool tool for you guys on Google. I'll just leave a link to it in the comments, not in the description, in the comments. It's a CMYK to Pantone. You'll need Pantone colors when you're doing stitching or embroidery, and it helps you a lot because it's important. If you're doing just screen print, most of the time they can mix and match colors to get the color that you want. But if you're doing anything to do with clothing, you need the TCX color and Pantone. So yeah, having those colors is not the end. Like, if you don't have them, it's not the end of the world, but having them will play a crucial part, because when it comes to tech pack, you just want to eliminate the amount of guessing the manufacturer has to do. So yeah, that's it. So all you have to do is just take a screenshot of that little window that has a CMYK, I forgot what the thing is, like cyan, something like that. Cyan, magenta, yellow, and then just the black or levels. And basically you're going to just want to sample your color and basically just type in those numbers that you see. So the CMYK or CMYK codes until you get an estimate of which one fits perfectly. I usually take a screenshot of the whole thing, put it into Illustrator, and then make a little square of the color that I have, and then just hover it on top of everything to see which one matches the best. And if I can work with it, I'll work with it. Like, I'm really not that picky. I know some people will order in hand samples of colors and then hold them down, which is important if you're doing large scale projects, because there is a lot more room for error. But if you're doing 30 to 20 units, you're pretty safe in terms of like margin for error. So the next thing you guys want to do for this is get the actual sizes for your logos. Now, if you guys are doing embroidery, this will help a lot because, like I said before, you don't want to leave the manufacturer guessing. When it comes to clothing and stuff like that, I'm not too picky, so I don't measure the actual clothing, which I should do more often, but most times the manufacturer is pretty spot on. The people that I work with, they're pretty spot on in terms of printing the garments from the mock-ups that I send them, which is pretty nice. The only issues we run into is, I guess, making small adjustments so it can fit on a small, medium, and large. But since you're doing a hat, one size fit most, I guess, adult sizing, so you should be good. For this, the first thing we want to do is just make a little box. And I've already measured mine out, so I want this to be 11 centimeters wide roughly, and that's going to be the max width of the design itself. And then beside that, I'm just gonna say scale to width. So when you hold shift and you scale up, it scales all together. So that's basically what I'm telling the manufacturer to do. And if they have any more issues, I guess, with scaling and stuff like that, I'll go in and measure each individual thing, but that usually doesn't happen. And if it does, I suggest you get a tape measure because that will save you so much time. Right now, I'm literally using one of those see-through rulers and a hat that I'm measuring the logos on so I can match it roughly how big I want my logos on this hat. Now we got a rough idea on sizing. We're gonna tell the manufacturer what we want. So for this part, the actual logo part, we're gonna want that screen printed onto the hat. And for the I'm still working on myself part, we're gonna want that on embroidery. So we're gonna have a mixture of two different mediums, embroidery and screen print. I guess is that what you call them, mediums? Furthermore, I'm just gonna make little blocks of color, because I have two colors here and it's easier to show it that way if they can't really understand what I'm pointing towards, because it says right now only that working part is embroidered. I'm gonna say all black sections are embroidered, or just all black embroidered. And then I'm going to duplicate that for the other one, say, or this blue color screen print. And that's just going to be for that logo. That's why I'm putting it by itself, or that patch. If I were to put everything on the same board, then I can't really do that because the rest of them on the sides are going to be all embroidery. Yeah. That's it. And now we're just going to repeat this process for all the other icons, and I'll jump to you guys when we have everything finished. And yeah, that's the final thing, or the final design. And I'm going to be ordering a sample for this. So make sure you guys are subscribed to Studio Will and also to Design by Will, so you guys can keep up to date with this project and how everything goes. Like I said before, I want to make this a series on starting a streetwear brand so you guys don't have to. And to save as a PDF, all you have to do is just press save as PDF, find a secure location you want to put it in, and then just save it. And yeah, just keep all the files, keep everything the same. Not a print, make sure it's for Illustrator so your manufacturer can open it, and make sure you can locate it, because I thought I didn't save it for a second and I was like, oh no, wait, it's where I put the hoodies, because I didn't listen to my own advice, put it in a safe place. Make sure you open it and you preview it, make sure everything's working. Like I said before, let me know what you guys thought about the final project. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try my best to get back to them. But I am really busy at the moment with uni and project work, so I might be a little bit late on replies at the moment, and also everything in commissions. So I'll see you guys when I see you, and make sure you subscribe to see the update.